Craftin' buddies. It is Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting doing another episode of Late Night Lori. And I think I actually have my camera in the best place it can be. Let me see about putting on my other device here so I can watch if anybody joins me. I don't see it popping up yet, but hopefully I'll see comments if any pop through. There we go. Alrighty. I think this is going to be the last night that we're working on the Beautiful Blues kit because I will be home for tomorrow night. So I only have a few of the bits and pieces left. So I've got some of these background pieces, this floral piece. I actually have quite a few of these left because the alternates that I've used, I haven't used a whole bunch of these. So I'm going to hang on to these, and I'm sure I will be doing some more projects of my own, but probably not on the lives. I might do a reel or something so you can see some of them. And there's all these name tags that have the nice outlining on them, so those will be fun to work with. This was another one that came with it. So this kit, if you've been following me all week, excuse me, you know that everything with the kit, everything you need comes in the kit. So you get the Stampin' Spot, you get a block to work with, you get a stamp set that has 3 sentiments and then this foliage piece, and I've been using that all week. You get some of these faceted gems that are really pretty. And I'll pull those out because we're probably going to be using those. I actually have 2 kits that I've been working on. And then you get the dimensionals. This tear and tape came with because there's an element, this element here that has a very thin border, so that needed more narrow tape. And we got a bunch of card bases. I have just this one left, and then envelopes. So the kit will make 9 cards. But if you cut these bases in half, like I did on many of them, you can increase the number of cards you get done. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to pull out my trimmer, and we're going to go ahead and cut this piece down to 4 1/4, and I'll save this piece. So we're left with this that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So this is the size of a card front, but I'm going to cut off 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. Let me just move this down. So 3/4 of an inch I'm taking off the bottom, and I'm going to save this piece because of course this can be used to make something else. And then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to put the corner up here in the track, and I'm going to line up the other corner so that it's in the bottom of the track, and I'm going to make a diagonal slice here. Now when I do that, I don't start right at the edge of the corner of my layer. I'm going to take my cutting blade down a little bit, and I'm just going to push it through the card, and then I can push it up into the corner, and then when it comes down I can take it out the other corner, and then I have my 2 pieces without crumpling up my corners. All right, so we're done with this, and because I don't have white cardstock with me, I'm going to use an envelope again like I did on last night's, and I forgot it was an envelope. But I'll cut this off, the flap off, and I'll put that on another card. I'll use that somehow. So I did not pull out my glue. All right, crisis averted. Sorry for the delay. So these, we're just going to glue right on here, okay? My husband tried to make me promise to make this short and sweet, so I'm doing my best. All right, so you can see I put glue all over my layer, but it's very thin. So a little glue goes a long way, all right? And then I'm gonna put this just right in the corner. And then we're gonna take this other piece and we're gonna put it up in the other corner. And I usually do that little swirl kind of in the middle, so if I've got a glob of glue, it's not near the end where it might squish out. And then I can decide how much pressure I need on the bottle. And this piece then we're gonna go ahead and put up here. And I'm putting it all the way to the edge. I don't wanna have a border on that because we're making our border in the middle, okay? So then I've got this new ribbon, this silver edged ribbon. I've been showing this a couple of times this week. It's glimmery, but not glittery. It's very smooth, so there's nothing that's gonna come off of there. And then it's got these edge loops on here, so that's really pretty. And this is going to come around here. So let's go ahead and trim this flap off, since I'm not gonna keep it as an envelope. And I'll keep that flap. My cut's not very clean though. There we go. All right, so there's our 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So this, what I'm gonna do is wrap this around the end here. And I'm gonna put maybe a couple of glue dots here. I didn't quite have all my stuff together. So put a couple of these dots right here, and that's just gonna keep that ribbon from shifting around too much. I'm not worried too much about holding it on, I just want to hold it in place. So I'm going to go ahead and maximize my piece of ribbon here. All right, so that'll just help keep it lined up for me. And then here, all I need to do is put a little seal on here to wrap it on this side. And a little bit of seal to wrap it on this side. Hopefully you can see that. I might be a little too low. I apologize for that. This leg gets in the way. And we're just going to trim off this extra. I guess that's not quite in the right place. We'll just peel that up, I think. And we'll align it again. There. And then we'll trim this off. And then just for good measure, I'm going to use a little tear and tape. And we'll just tape that right on there. I'm not going to take the backing off. I'm just going to use it as if it's regular tape. Okay? And then, looks like it's still shifted a little bit. I'll put a glue dot under there too, just to keep it near the corner where I want it to be. Same thing down here, okay? But you'll get the idea. And then this is the You're So Kind that I used this element piece along with this other foliage piece, all right? Now, you can see that this extends quite a bit more off the sides than the piece as it was designed. So all I did was snip it right down the middle so that I could move it and maximize how much of it displayed. Okay, so that's how I did that. Whoops. That's how I did that to get this. And then I'm just putting this up on dimensionals. I don't usually use this many, but it also helps keep those pieces in place. So there's those, and I'm just going to place this right here. Kind of symmetrically placed so that this corner is about the same edge away or the same distance as that piece. So it kind of looks balanced. And then we're going to take some of these little rhinestones, and these are glimmery, but there's not glitter in there, but they're really quite pretty. And I think normally I just do 3, but I'm going to do 5 on this one just because they're very pretty. I'll tuck one kind of under there maybe. Maybe not quite that far under there. There. And maybe one more over here. Okay. So once I get home, I will put this on a regular white, basic white card base. And that'll be my card. And then I still have plenty of envelopes. So I'll be able to put it in an envelope to mail it out as well. So that's what I have for you tonight. And if you like my video, give me a little thumbs up. Give me a little thumbs up. If you share the video, I appreciate that as well. If you've got some crafty friends that might enjoy this project, it's so easy. You could do this with any kind of cardstock. You know, get your little piece. If you've got layers, you just need it, what, 4 1/4 minus 3/4, so 3 1/2. I think 3 1/2 by the 5 1/2, and just cut it kind of down the middle diagonally with those 2 corners, corner to corner. So let's just measure this quick just to be sure. So I think 3 1/2. Yep, so 3 1/2 by 5 1/2, so you could do it with any cardstock. Cut it from corner to corner and then spread it out. So any designer series paper will work for that. All right, that's it for tonight. Thanks for popping in and joining me. Until next time, happy crafting.